I replaced his secret bottle with soap. What happened next shocked him. I'm 32F, my husband is 35M, and until a few weeks ago, I genuinely believed we had a stable, if not perfect, marriage. But for the past few months, something just felt off. Not enough to accuse him of anything, but enough that my stomach tightened every time he said he had late work or guys' night. He'd gotten snappy, too bitchy even. Everything I did annoyed him. If I asked how his day was, you don't need a play-by-play. If I suggested we spend the weekend together, God, can I have some space? It wasn't the words that hurt, it was the tone, the constant shift into defensiveness, the way he suddenly guarded his phone like it held CIA secrets. I had no proof of anything yet, but the cracks were starting to show. And then one morning, while grabbing my wallet from my own work bag, I found something that did not belong to me. A bottle of his lubricant. Stuff we hadn't used in months. And it wasn't tucked away or forgotten. It was fresh. New. Hidden. My heart dropped. And that was the moment everything shifted. When I pulled the bottle out of my bag, I just stared at it like it was some alien object. My first thought wasn't even anger, it was confusion. Why was his lubricant in my work bag? We hadn't used it together in months. Not since he started turning away from me in bed, giving me excuses like, I'm tired. Work is killing me. Not tonight. Can we not make everything about sex? I brushed it off at first. Stress happens. People go through rough patches. But this was different. I turned the bottle over in my hand, and it hit me like a punch to the gut. He wasn't using it with me, so who was he using it with? I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't call him and demand answers. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the bottle like it was the last puzzle piece I'd been missing. Suddenly, all the signs lined up. The late nights, the defensive attitude, the unexplained gym trips, the constant showering the moment he came home, the way he kept his phone face down and on silent. He wasn't just off. He wasn't just stressed. He was cheating. And then something shifted in me. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Just clarity. If he was going to disrespect me, then I was going to be 10 steps ahead. So instead of confronting him right away, I quietly went to the bathroom, emptied the bottle, washed it out, and refilled it with thick, slippery liquid soap. Clear enough that he wouldn't notice. I put it right back in my bag, zipped it up, and waited. Let him expose himself. Let him lie to my face again. Let him hang himself with his own rope. Because now I had proof. And a plan. All day at work, my mind kept drifting back to that bottle sitting in my bag, now filled with liquid soap instead of what he expected. I wasn't looking for revenge in some dramatic way. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I just wanted to see what he'd do when the truth stopped lining up with his lies. When I got home that evening, he was already there, sprawled on the couch, scrolling on his phone with the screen tilted away from me like always. The moment he heard me walk in, he shoved it into his pocket. Typical. He didn't greet me, didn't ask about my day, just mumbled. Can you be quieter? I'm trying to relax. Bitchy tone included. I stayed calm. I wasn't going to give him any reason to accuse me of being dramatic, his favorite word when he wanted to invalidate me. Instead, I put my purse on the counter, loud enough to make him glance over. Just a quick flick of his eyes, but enough for me to know he recognized it. 10 minutes later, he stood up and stretched like he was auditioning for a cheap soap opera. I'm just running to the car for something. I simply nodded and kept scrolling on my phone like I didn't know exactly what he was about to do. He grabbed my purse off the counter, assuming I wasn't paying attention. He thought he was sneaky. He thought I was clueless. I listened to him rummage around inside it in the hallway. A zipper. A sigh of relief. A quick shuffle of footsteps. And then the front door opened and shut. He left. With the bottle. The soap-filled decoy bottle. I didn't chase him. I didn't ask questions. I didn't even blink. I simply sat back, took a deep breath, and waited for whatever disaster he was about to create for himself. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one holding our relationship together. He was the one unraveling it. He was gone for about an hour. An hour. Do you know how long that is to run to the car? Long enough that even he couldn't spin it into something innocent. I sat on the couch the whole time, pretending to watch a cooking show while my heart thudded in my chest. I wasn't anxious, more like waiting for a scene in a movie I'd already predicted. Sure enough, the front door burst open like a storm. He stomped inside, sweaty, irritated, and visibly rattled. Babe, he blurted way too loudly, you won't believe what just happened. Oh, I couldn't wait. I raised an eyebrow calmly. What happened? He threw his hands up dramatically. I had a work emergency. One of the guys called me, needed me to, drop off some paperwork. At night, on a Friday. Without the paperwork, he never brought out of the house. Really? I asked flatly. He nodded fast. Too fast. Yeah, you know how work is. Total chaos. They're lucky I'm keeping that place together. I almost snorted. This man couldn't keep track of his own socks. Then he glanced around, trying to look casual while edging toward the hallway, like I wouldn't notice he was checking if I'd touched anything while he was gone. Did you need anything from your bag earlier? I asked, intentionally light. His whole body stiffened. No. Why? Did you go through it? There it was. The accusation. The deflection. Classic cheating behavior. I shrugged. Just asking. He swallowed hard. Okay, well, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna shower. Of course he was. Because every time he came home from work, he scrubbed himself like he was washing away evidence. I watched him disappear into the bathroom, knowing damn well that somewhere out there was a very confused woman, or two, trying to figure out why her fun night suddenly felt like a sticky, filmy disaster. And he didn't suspect a thing. Not about the soap.
Not about me.
Not about the fact that the ground beneath him was shifting. Because tomorrow another surprise was waiting. His keys wouldn't fit the door. But for now,
I just smiled to myself. Game on.
the next morning he woke up acting weird. Not guilty weird. More like panicking internally but trying to mask it weird. He kept pacing around, checking his phone every 5 seconds, sighing dramatically, scratching the back of his neck like he was trying to hide a migraine. Rough night, I asked casually while making coffee. He jumped like I'd slapped him. Why would you say that?
I'm fine. Totally fine. Why?
Do I look weird? Did someone say something to you?
Wow.
That was fast. No, I replied, pouring coffee into a mug. Just asking. He stared at me suspiciously, then finally sat at the table, tapping his fingers nonstop. His phone buzzed.
Once. Twice.
3 times. He flipped it face down, but not before I caught a glimpse of a female name.
His whole face tightened.
Then came the muttering. Unbelievable, she's being dramatic. What did she expect? I pretended not to hear anything. I just sipped my coffee. After about 15 minutes of pacing and glaring at his phone, he announced loudly, I have to go out. Work stuff. Don't wait for me.
Sure. Work.
At 8 a.m. on a Saturday, he grabbed his keys, stomped to the door, shoved the key into the lock, and paused. Then tried again. Harder. And again. And again.
Jiggling. Shaking.
Twisting.
Cursing.
Are you kidding me? He yelled. What's wrong with this stupid lock? I walked over slowly, leaned against the doorframe, and said sweetly,
Oh.
I had the locks changed yesterday. He spun around like a feral raccoon. Why? Why the hell would you do that without telling me? I shrugged. Because I felt like it. His mouth fell open. He looked genuinely terrified for the first time. But I wasn't done. Not even close. He pointed at me dramatically. Did you touch something in my bag? Did you mess with my stuff? Because something went wrong last night. I raised my eyebrows. Did it? He blinked rapidly, panic flaring. You know what? Forget it. I'm calling a locksmith. This is ridiculous. I smiled. Go for it. He stormed outside to make the call. But what he didn't know was this. The house was in my name. The locksmith wouldn't help him. And the locks weren't the only thing I'd changed. For the first time, he was on the outside of his own life. And honestly, it felt like justice was finally catching up. He was outside for a good 20 minutes, pacing around the porch while gesturing wildly on the phone. I didn't need to hear the conversation to know how it went. Locksmiths don't touch a home unless the person requesting access can prove they live there. And he couldn't. Because everything, the deed, the utilities, the paperwork was under my name. When he finally came back inside, after I opened the door for him with all the grace of a queen tolerating a court jester, he was red-faced and furious. They won't come, he shouted. This is unbelievable. I told them I live here. I crossed my arms, leaning back against the counter. And what did you show them as proof? He blinked. His mouth opened and closed like a fish. I shouldn't have to prove anything. I've lived here for years. Not according to the paperwork, I replied smoothly. He looked like he was going to explode. But then, suddenly, he switched tactics, dropping his voice, trying to look soft and pitiful. Baby, why would you do this? He asked, stepping closer. Is this about last night? Because nothing happened. Oh, here we go. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Nothing. He nodded eagerly, palms up like he was pleading innocence. Nothing. I was helping a coworker with something, that's all. She had issues. Personal issues. And I was being a good friend. A good friend? I murmured. He nodded even harder. Yes. A really good friend. I mean, no, not like that. Just helping. You always assume the worst. I let out a slow breath. Is that why your phone wouldn't stop buzzing this morning? He froze. And is that why you took something from my bag yesterday? I continued. Something you didn't think I'd notice? He swallowed. What? I didn't take anything. I cut him off. Don't lie. You took the bottle. His eyes went wide, guilty wide, before he caught himself. Okay.
Fine.
I took it. But it wasn't for anything bad. It was for a muscle cramp. I almost laughed. Soap for a muscle cramp. Sure, buddy. Right. I said flatly. He threw his hands up. Why are you being like this? Why are you making everything so extreme? I can't believe you changed the locks over nothing. Oh, I replied calmly. This isn't about nothing. But we both know that. For a moment he actually looked scared, like he realized the walls were closing in. And honestly, it was about time. He paced the living room like he was rehearsing excuses for a judge. Hands in his hair, muttering, cursing, sighing dramatically. Classic, I've been caught, but I don't know how much she knows behavior. Finally, he spun toward me, eyes narrowed. Okay, he said sharply. What exactly do you think I did? Because you're clearly worked up over something. I didn't match his tone. I didn't need to. I found something in my bag, I said quietly. He froze. Completely froze. What did you find? He asked, voice shaky. The bottle. He swallowed so hard I could hear it. Oh, he said faintly, then louder. OH, that bottle. Babe, that's not what you think. What do I think? I asked. He wrung his hands like a bad actor in a school play. I was gonna surprise you. Yeah, that's why I put it in your bag. I stared at him.
Surprise me.
At work. He nodded wildly.
Yes.
Or, for later. I thought that maybe we could, reconnect. He looked so proud of that lie, like he'd just solved world hunger. And you decided to prepare for that by hiding it in my bag. He blinked rapidly. I panicked, he shouted suddenly. I didn't want you to think anything weird. So you hid it in my purse, I repeated.
Yes.
No. Stop twisting my words. I didn't say anything. I just let him keep sinking. His phone buzzed again. He flinched so hard, he nearly dropped it. Who's messaging you? I asked. Nobody, he snapped, clutching the phone like a life raft. Just work. On a weekend? It happens. And they message you 20 times in a morning? It's busy season. I tilted my head. You work in IT support for a dentist's office. He opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. There could be dental emergencies, he shouted. My God.
He was spiraling.
At this point, it wasn't even about the cheating. It was about watching a grown man collapse under the weight of his own bad lying skills. But I stayed calm, silent, patient, because the more I didn't react,
The more he panicked.
and the more he panicked, the more the truth cracked through. We weren't at the breaking point yet, but I could feel it coming. He kept pacing, muttering, and wiping sweat off his forehead. Meanwhile, I just sat there, watching him unravel like cheap yarn. Then he asked the question I knew was coming. So, did you use the bottle? I shrugged casually.
Why?
Worried something's wrong with it. His face went pale. Literally pale. He looked like someone had unplugged him. No. Just curious. Totally normal question.
Ah.
His laugh sounded like a broken shopping cart squeak. I leaned back. Why don't you tell me when you used it last? He stiffened. Well, obviously not recently. I've been, swamped with work. Dental emergencies? I asked. His eye twitched. He was about to talk again, but something hit him. I watched it happen in real time. That tiny flicker behind his eyes. And suddenly his voice dropped. Wait. I pretended to look innocent. Yes. He swallowed hard. Did the bottle look different? A little. His hand flew to his face. Oh, God. Now he was actually breathing fast. He looked at me, panicked, horrified, suspicious, terrified. All at once. What did you do to it? He shouted. I raised an eyebrow. What do you think I did? His voice cracked. You didn't replace it, did you? I blinked slowly. Why would I replace something you said you were going to use with me? He froze again, hands on his knees, staring at the floor. And then he whispered, almost to himself. Oh God, the soap. I didn't even have to say anything. He realized it on his own. You did replace it, he yelled, pointing at me like a cartoon villain. You replaced it with soap. Interesting accusation. I said calmly. Are you admitting you used it? He opened his mouth. No words came out. And then, his phone buzzed. Again, and again, and again. The screen lit up and flashed a name. He turned the phone face down so fast he nearly threw it. But it was too late. I saw it. Lilac. Not a coworker. Not a dentist. Not a human name anyone would believe in 2025. Just Lilac. He must have realized I saw because he snapped. Don't look at my phone. That's private. Like your surprise lubricant? I asked. He threw his hands up. You're being crazy, which, funny enough, is usually what cheaters say right before the truth explodes. And oh, it was coming. The second I said her name, he went rigid. Lilac. I repeated, slowly, watching his reaction. He blinked like a malfunctioning robot. Lilac? No. That's my dentist. I stared at him. Your dentist is named Lilac? Yes, he snapped too fast. It's Eastern European. What country is that from? He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it. Europe. I swear to God. I almost laughed. Then his phone buzzed again. He looked like he wanted to crawl inside a wall. This time the preview popped up. Did you figure out what happened last night? Call me. He lunged for his phone like it was a grenade. Don't read that, he shouted. I raised an eyebrow. If she's your dentist, why is she texting you at 10 a.m. asking about last night? He stuttered so hard I thought he'd glitch out. That's, it's code. For a root canal. A root canal called last night? His voice cracked. Yes. I don't know what broke first. His confidence. Or his ability to lie. So I asked softly. Was it her apartment where you used the soap? He dropped his phone. Literally dropped it. It clattered across the floor and bounced under the table. He didn't even go after it. He just stood there frozen like he realized he was checkmated. And then, as if this moment wasn't pathetic enough, he muttered, I didn't cheat. Okay? I was only doing self-care with someone else watching. I blinked. You think that makes it better? He threw his hands in the air. It wasn't sex. It was emotional hydration. What does that even mean? It means you overreacted. And now my entire personal area is burning because of you. I sighed. So you did use it. He groaned, covering his face. This was the moment his lies collapsed into a wet pile of nonsense. And then, as if the universe wanted to add drama, someone knocked on the front door. 3 loud, aggressive knocks. He jumped. Who is that? I shrugged. Why don't you answer it? Because I knew exactly who it was. The 3 loud knocks echoed through the apartment. My husband froze, eyes wide like a deer caught in headlights. Who could that be? He whispered, panic lacing his voice. I tilted my head and said lightly, maybe it's someone you've been avoiding lately. He gulped. Slowly, reluctantly. He walked toward the door. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he hesitated, as if he already knew the answer before opening it. I stood back, arms crossed, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and anticipation. He opened the door. And there she was. Lilac. The woman from his texts. The one he tried to claim was a dentist. Perfectly composed, calm, and clearly not impressed by his frantic behavior. She raised an eyebrow at him, smiled faintly at me, and said,
"Hey,
I think we need to talk privately." He froze. I could see the color drain from his face. Every lie he had built in the past few weeks was crumbling in real time. He stuttered, tried to wave her off. No, it's fine. She's just visiting, right? Lilac shook her head, slowly, deliberately. Actually, I'm here to return something, and maybe clarify a few things you've been avoiding. I smiled, quietly enjoying the chaos. For the first time, he wasn't in control. Not of me, not of the situation, not even of his lies. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. And that's when I realized, this was the moment everything he tried to hide would finally be exposed. The soap-filled bottle, the texts, the lies, all of it. And I was finally free from his manipulation. My husband looked like he was about to faint, but Lilac just stepped inside like she owned the place. She didn't wait for an invitation. She didn't need one. She held a small gift bag, the kind you'd use for jewelry or a tiny bottle of perfume, and set it on the kitchen counter with a dramatic little tap. Then she turned to me and said, completely calm, "I think you deserve to know what's been going on." He practically leapt between us. "Lilac, no. We agreed you wouldn't." She cut him off with a single raised hand. "No, you agreed. I just didn't correct you, because I assumed you'd eventually grow up. Clearly, I was wrong." My jaw dropped. This woman had zero patience left. She continued. "So, your husband here," she pointed at him like she was pointing out a spoiled child, "has been seeing me for about 3 months. Only casually. Nothing serious. Until he started doing whatever he did last night." She glanced at him. He refused to look up. Then she said the sentence that sealed everything. "By the way, that bottle he used? Yeah. He completely destroyed my sheets." I accidentally coughed out a laugh. I couldn't help it. My husband, meanwhile, exploded. How was I supposed to know it was soap? She set me up. Lilac blinked at him. "You're blaming her for sabotaging your cheating?" He gestured wildly at me.
yes."
She put it in her bag. Why would I think it was anything else? She's been acting weird lately. I folded my arms. You mean noticing her sudden late nights, the new cologne, the hiding her phone, the random work events? He glared at me like I was the problem. Well, if he didn't act paranoid, maybe I wouldn't have to hide stuff. Lilac let out a slow, exhausted sigh. I can't believe I slept with this man. His head snapped toward her. "Hey, that's rude." She shrugged. "So, is lying about being single?" The room fell silent. And then Lilac pushed the little gift bag toward me. "This is yours. I don't want it." He bought it thinking it would impress me. It didn't. My husband's eyes widened. "Lilac, what are you doing?" She turned to me and said, "I'm sorry you found out like this. You seem way too good for him." Then she walked out. Just like that.
No dramatic exit. No slamming doors.
Just a calm, clean break. And my husband? He looked at me like a dog who knew it had pooped on the rug. After Lilac left, my husband just stood there. He wasn't angry anymore, not really. He was shocked.
Scared.
Helpless. All the confidence he'd carried for months had evaporated. He turned to me, eyes wide. I can explain," he stammered. I shook my head.
No.
"There's nothing left to explain. You lied. You hid things. You betrayed me. And now you've been exposed by your own actions." He tried a few more weak arguments. It wasn't serious. "She's rich," I thought. I cut him off. "Don't. Just don't." I went into the kitchen, poured myself a cup of coffee, and sat down. For the first time in months, I felt calm. The tension in my shoulders loosened. My chest wasn't tight. My mind wasn't racing. All the fear, all the doubt, all the paranoia. It vanished in a single moment. I realized something important. I didn't need him to apologize. I didn't need him to admit fault. I didn't need him to grovel. What I needed was to reclaim my life, my space, my dignity. And that started right now. The next day, I made it official. I changed the locks, updated security codes, and started moving his belongings out. I didn't confront him further. I didn't beg. I didn't even yell. I simply took back what was mine, my home, my space, my life. Friends came over, helped me pack, and reminded me that I wasn't alone. For the first time in years, I felt supported and safe. I also started thinking about myself, not him, not his lies. I took time for hobbies I had abandoned, went out with friends, and even started journaling again. Writing everything down helped me untangle the years of gaslighting, excuses, and manipulation. I realized that letting him continue in my life wasn't just dangerous, it was exhausting. And for the first time, I felt truly free. By the end of the week, I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. And I knew I never wanted to look back. It's been a few weeks since the chaos. The house feels like mine again, quiet, safe, and mine to enjoy. I've had time to reflect, and here's what I've learned. Trust must be earned, not assumed. Subtle changes in behavior often signal bigger issues. Boundaries are non-negotiable. If someone repeatedly breaks them, it's not love, it's entitlement. You are enough. You don't need anyone who treats love like a transaction or hides behind lies. Patience is powerful. Letting him unravel on his own revealed the truth without me needing to scream or fight. I've stopped blaming myself, stopped replaying what ifs, and started focusing on what I want. My happiness, my peace, and my dignity are now non-negotiable. The betrayal was painful, humiliating, and shocking, but it also forced me to wake up.
And now, I'm awake.
Looking back, I can see the whole story clearly now. The soap, the lies, the texts, the late-night excuses, it all painted a perfect picture of someone I didn't really know. And that's okay. I learned that life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Sometimes it hits you with betrayal and humiliation, but how you respond defines your next chapter. I chose calm, clarity, and self-respect over anger and revenge. I reclaimed my home, my space, and my peace of mind. If there's one piece of advice I can give anyone in a similar situation, trust your instincts, protect your boundaries, and never settle for someone who disrespects your worth. You don't need their apology or admission of guilt. You need freedom, dignity, and the courage to walk away when someone proves they don't value you. The house is quiet again. My coffee tastes better. My phone buzzes less. And for the first time in years, I feel free. I am free from his lies, free from his manipulation, and free to build a life that I control. And that is worth more than any apology he could have offered.